In Chapter 9, we're going to cover a topic known as payroll, one of my favorite topics. So, when you think about payroll, we're going to talk about how do we determine the gross pay, whether you're paid on a weekly basis, bi weekly, semi monthly, or on a monthly basis. We'll do calculations for gross pay with overtime. We'll look at other ways of paying employees, what we call piecework, when there's a differential pay schedule, straight commission withdrawal, commission scale, and salary plus commission. So this chapter is all about making money. So you ready? Let's go. So here we have the person who earns $50,000 on an annual basis. To determine their weekly salary, you divide the 50,000 by 52 weeks. If they're paid bi-weekly, divided by 26 weeks. If they're paid semi-monthly, twice a month, divided by 24 months. And if they're paid monthly, divided by 12 to get the amount of their monthly salary. So think about your place of employment. How often are you paid? Are you paid weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, or monthly? Anybody paid on an annual basis? Know what that means? You don't have a job. Ha ha, just kidding. Now, when it comes to calculating the gross pay amount, it is the hours worked by the employee times their rate of pay. Now, on occasion, let's go this out the way, you may earn what's called overtime. Overtime means you work more than the maximum hours within that particular pay period. The overtime rate of pay is 1.5 times your regular hourly rate of pay. So gross pay equals earnings for 40 hours plus any earnings over 40 hours at your overtime rate of pay. Now, this is assuming that you're paid on a weekly basis, and we're using 40 as the regular hours you can earn per week before receiving what's known as overtime compensation. So let's say we have Valdez, whose rate of pay is $9 per hour. This is showing the hours worked each day of the week. They work Monday through Saturday for a total of 61.5 hours. Now, the overtime rate of pay is going to be 1.5 times the regular rate of pay. So any hours over 40 will receive the overtime compensation rate. So for our calculations, we see that this employee has worked 21.5 overtime hours. That's 61.5 hours worked minus 40 give this employee 21.5 times overtime hours, and their overtime rate of pay is going to be $13.50 per hour. It is 1.5 times their regular rate of pay. So to get the regular earnings, we'll take 40 hours times $9. That'll give us $360. To get the overtime earnings, 21.5 hours times 13.5, which is the overtime rate of pay. That gives us 290.25. And when you add those together, the gross pay earned for the week is $650.25. Okay? Straight piece rate pay. So what does that mean when we talk about a piece rate pay? Piece rate is a payment system that is based upon productivity. It is not based upon hours worked. So they're going to pay you based upon the units produced times a rate per unit. For example, Ryan produces 900 dolls. He is paid 96 cents per doll that he is going to produce. To calculate his gross pay, we're going to multiply the number of units produced, 900, times the rate of pay, which is 96 cents per doll. Therefore, Ryan will have a total gross pay of $864. So when it says piece rate pay, it is based upon your productivity. the more productive you are, the more you're going to earn under this type of compensation. Differential pay scale. This simply means that you're going to get paid a different rate based upon your level of production. So, for example, now we have Abby, and this is saying that if Abby produces 1 to 50 units, she'll receive payment of 50 cents per unit. Between 51 and 150 units, 62 cents per unit. 151 to 200, 75 cents per unit. Over 200, $1.25 per unit. Wow, Abby. So we see that the more productive Abby is, the more money she's going to earn. So Abby produced a total of 300 dogs. We're asking the question, what would be Abby's gross rate of pay? You ready? Okay. So for the first 50 produced, it's going to be 50 cents per unit. For the next 100 units produced, it'll be 62 cents per unit. For the next, so that gives 150. For the next 50 produced, it's going to be 75 cents per unit. And for anything over 200, she did 300 total, it's $1.25 per unit. So when you have a differential pay scale, your pay is different based upon your level of productivity. So we multiply these numbers out, add them all together. The total gross pay equals $249.50. Not bad, Abby. Straight commission withdrawal. Keep moving that so we can see. This is when your commission is a certain percentage of the amount a salesperson sells. So we're saying now, based upon the amount you sell within a given pay period, that will determine the amount of your gross pay. Now, a draw is an advance on the salesperson commission, meaning that they're going to pay you an amount in advance before the actual end of the pay period, but the amount you receive as a draw will be subtracted from your total earnings to get the amount of your gross pay. Here we have Jackie Okamoto, who receives commission of 15% on her net sales. Her net sales for the period were $56,000. They already gave Jackie a draw of $600 in the month of May. Is asking what is Jackie's gross pay. So to get the gross pay, you would take the 56,000 net sales times 15%. That gives you $8,400. However, she's received already a draw of 600. Therefore, the gross pay this pay period would equal $7,800. So you may have this type of pay scale for those who are sales reps, and on occasion, the employer may allow you to get a draw for expenses that you may incur before the end of the pay period, but that draw is then deducted from your gross pay or your total amount to get the gross pay to receive at the end of that pay period. Few more. Variable commission sales. So now we're saying commission would be 4% on our sales up to $35,000. 6% on sales between $35,000 to $45,000, and 8% commission on any sales over $45,000. So Jane had net sales for $160,000. What is Jane's gross pay based upon this schedule? Ready to calculate it? Let's go. So for the first $35,000, it's going to be at 4%. Word it up a little bit. For the next 10,000, 35 to 40, it will be at 6%. So that's a total of 45,000. Any amount over 45,000, she'll earn commission of 8%. So when you take the various commission scales, the first 35,000 at 4%, the next 10,000 at 6%, and the amount over 45,000 at 8%, Jane For this month, we'll have gross pay of $11,200. Okay? Now, perhaps you have a job where you receive salary plus commission. Example, we have Joe has a salary of $3,000 per month plus a 4% commission for sales over $20,000. Last month, Joe's net sales were $50,000. Calculate Joe's gross pay amount. Calculate? What do you have? That's correct. So we're going to take the salary, which is $3,000. The commission is the amount over $20,000. So his net sales were $50,000. There's no commission on the first $20,000, but the $30,000, oh, go away. The $30,000 is going to be times the 4%. Therefore, Joe's gross pay will be $4,200. We're going to stop there for right now. We're going to come back with our next video. And now that you know how to calculate the gross pay, we're focused on deductions from gross pay to get to your net pay amount, how to complete what's known as a payroll register.